From townhall.com, I'm Jason Walker. President Biden says discovery of the new Omicron variant should not be a cause for fear. White House correspondent Greg Clugston has details.
In a speech from the West Wing, the president sought to reassure anxious and pandemic-weary Americans.
This variant is a cause for concern, not a cause for panic.
He said it will take 1 or 2 weeks before health experts know more about Omicron. In the meantime, the president said the best protection against any COVID-19 variant
is getting fully vaccinated and getting a booster shot.
He also said he doesn't believe any shutdowns or lockdowns will be necessary. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Also at townhall.com, Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis will include raises and bonuses for law enforcement personnel when he announces his overall state budget proposal next week.
The budget that I signed for this current fiscal year included $1,000 bonuses for every sworn law enforcement officer, first responder, and EMT who've been working so hard throughout the pandemic in the entire state of Florida.
And that's not all.
We're going to be recommending to the legislature $73 million to increase the minimum pay for entry-level sworn state law enforcement officers by 20% to help our state law enforcement agencies recruit more law enforcement officers.
Americans spending freely and going back to store shopping, knocking out some of the momentum in online sales from last year when Americans were making many of their purchases exclusively via the internet. Shopper traffic roared back on Black Friday, still below pre-pandemic levels, in part because many retailers spread out some of the bigger deals starting in October. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. These pills work for men and women to improve their sexual performance. And now for the price of 2 or 3 pills, you can get nearly 100. There's no need to pay expensive prices for Viagra or Cialis. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Change your life for the better and have fun. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
800-627-3988. 800-627-3988. 800-627-3988. That's 800-627-3988.
Out of deck carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they got you covered.
You're listening to Joco Community Radio.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to No Judgment here. I am your host, Tish Ross. Do you believe in luck, maybe coincidence, or by accident that something might have happened? Do you think that there's no way There's no way that this would have happened unless. Do you believe in fate? How about divine moments with and from God? Tonight, my guests have stories that are nothing short of miraculous. And they want to share their stories with us because you know what? They need to be told. Someone needs to hear them. I feel like our stories, our testimonies, our transparency gives others hope and encouragement in that the storm that you are going through is temporary. God is good and He is with you and He will never forsake you. I cannot wait for you to hear these amazing stories of not luck, not coincidence, not by accident testimonies. These are indeed divine moments with and from God. I want you to meet my guest. I've had the honor and the privilege of actually witnessing some of these miraculous interventions or God moments that they're going to share with you tonight and us tonight. I love hearing them because it just constantly reminds me that God is always present, even when we don't feel like He is, even when we have walked away from God. He is always there. He's just waiting. He's waiting. And these moments are moments that God stepped in. And again, they're nothing short of miraculous. So, with these stories, we have some detail within them. I want you to hang in here with me. They are amazing. And if you have any questions or comments or love that you want to share with my guests, please put them in the Facebook comments section or the radio show comment section. I am watching them and I will share them with you. You guys already have 2 comments. One of them is from Mike Ross. He says, "Good evening, family. Pooch loves each and every one of you." And Caroline Young says, "Go sunshine and my angel, Uncle Bubba." All right, we're going to start with you, Armando. Before you get into your story, though, I want to kind of find out where you were prior to this happening in regards to your faith or your relationship with God.
Well, starting out, my mom's faith was, she was our faith leader in the house. And, our dad made us go with our mom to church. And so going to church started maybe around like 6, 7. We were going to a Catholic church. And I was not in like a Bible little school. I remember we sat with mom, and I think being that young, it's hard to grip, the Bible. And, I just remember, it was going through deaf ears and, I just couldn't wait to get out of there. It was boring. I didn't understand it. And, I was too small to understand it. And, I just remember Sundays, that's what we did, but seeing my mom, her faith at home and religiously praying every day, was beautiful. And I think that's what gave me my faith, in God and that God is real. From that moment, we continued going. And when I was finally old enough to move out, always believed in God. But I stopped going to church. I would pray at night, but that was about it. I was just glad I was on my own, just doing my own thing, and church was the furthest thing from my mind. But I did always pray and always did believe in God.
And so just prior to your this moment, this divine moment that you're getting ready to share, were you still feeling that way? Were you not attending church? I mean, you still obviously had a great belief in God and the power of prayer, but were you, I guess, going to church in terms of joining community, serving church, really diving deep into your personal relationship with Jesus Christ?
And pertaining to when I was living on my own, or
Prior to the story that you're getting ready to share?
Nope, I was not involved in any community, any small group, no church, not at all. Just like I said, just praying at home, at night, and that was it. I really did not have really any desire to go to church. I felt like I didn't need to go as long as I prayed. Why go to church?
Right.
Mhm.
And so then this event happened, and it involves your cat, and her name is Bumble. But before you became Bumble's caregiver,
Mhm.
she was brought into the house, or she was born out of a litter of, I believe it was three kittens. One had passed, the other one was given away, and we were left with her mother and herself. And you looked at the litter after, I guess it probably had been a year or so, maybe more, when you lost your previous cat, which was very difficult because you are a lover of animals and human nature, creatures of all, both human and God's creations. And so it wasn't too long after you'd lost your cat, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years.
Yep, it was about 2 years.
Okay.
And I remember I said, I'm never going to get another cat because I don't want to go through this again.
Right.
Mhm.
And then you looked at the litter, and I'm going to let you take it from there.
Mhm. Yeah, I looked at the litter, and I saw, which I named Bumble, but yeah, I saw her, and I was like, okay, I've got to keep this cat. And like I said, I didn't want to, but something drew me, towards her, and so I just fell in love with her. And so leading up to the story is she was about 9 months, and it was about that time for me to get her spayed. So I said, okay, let's go ahead and do it. And so I had scheduled an appointment, and when I called the vet to let them know I'm on my way to bring Bumble to get spayed, they said, "Oh, we don't have her down today." And I was like, "Well, I took off work, and so I need to get her in, somehow, some way, because I can't take off work again." And they said, "Well, we're sorry." And I said, "Well, you better do something, find a way to get her in." And so they called me back, and they got her in. And so I picked her up, and the vet said she'll be pretty mellow, just coming from off the anesthesia. So I said, okay. So a day went by, and she was pretty quiet. And then the next morning, I noticed her breathing pretty hard. I thought, that doesn't seem right. So I took her back to the vet, and he checked her out, and he said, "Yeah, she's still just coming off anesthesia." And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. Usually what I've heard, it's like 24 hours, and it'd been 24. So I said, okay, we'll wait. So later that night was when she was in a corner and just breathing so hard, and just gasping for air. And that's when I decided, okay, I need to take her to a 24-hour vet, because it was late. It was like about 10 at night, and we went to a Hewlin Hills near off of Hewlin Street, and they immediately took her in, and we're just waiting for a couple of hours, and they came out. The vet came out and said, "Boy, she has pneumonia, like really bad. Her lungs are just full of fluid." And they said, "We can put her in almost like an incubator aquarium with a nebulizer that will blow medication to try and clear out the lungs." And I said, "Yes, whatever, we'll do anything." So they took her, put her in there, And I went by the 24-hour clinic the next day after work, and I looked at her, and she didn't look good, you know. And I thought, oh man. So I talked to the vet, and they're like, yeah, she's not doing too good. So
It's okay. I know it's hard.
So I said, I'll come back tomorrow and look at her and see. So next day I couldn't, and so I asked Dolly, my now wife, girlfriend then, and I said, hey baby, do you think you could, go by and check on her, And Dolly said, yeah, I'll go look at her, And so we were waiting at the house. And Dolly came in, and I said, well, and she goes, doesn't look good, So I was like, oh, you got to be kidding, So a lot of things went through my mind at that moment. And one of them was, if I wouldn't have forced her to get spayed that day, that wouldn't have happened, and that guilt, like it was my fault, I should have just waited, And I said, see, that's what happens. That's what I get, for trying to force her in and get her spayed. So I was just, bawling. And I remember you were in the living room, and I was crying and angry and mad at myself, and and it seemed like it was just a buildup of everything, and finally, man, it's like I just exploded. I started just yelling, I was crying, yelling, and then I remember like even yelling at God, and some choice words at him, and I was so angry, I was like, why, how could you do this, and so after that episode, which was a pretty good one, I kind of sat, calmed down, and then I said, okay, if you can, they say you can do miracles, and like again, just from being in church when I was little, that's all I knew is God could perform miracles, if you pray. And
right.
So I did. I said, okay. I said, it's like I gave God an ultimatum, and I said, okay, if you are true, and if you can perform, miracles, and this is how funny that my walk with Christ was not even near what it is today and what it should have been, but we all in time we find our way home.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
So I said, okay, if I only get one miracle, which I think now how funny, if I only get one, I want to use it,
Yeah.
and I want to use it tonight. So I said, if you're true, then you will heal Bumble, and then I'll give myself to you. And so 2 hours later, my phone rang, and it was the vet. And they said, hey, we got bad news. Bumble's gone.
And I'm going to give you a minute, because I remember during this time that I could hear you having this meltdown or being angry and sad during during that specific moment. I remember being in my daughter's bedroom, Caroline's bedroom, with she and Tristan, obviously your nephew and niece. And I remember when we were praying that I was praying that, please God, let this animal, live, not necessarily for the animal. Obviously, the animal is precious. Bumble is precious, a creature of God. But we were praying to please just let it live to save your faith or your relationship, just to help you to believe. And but even after that prayer, and not that our prayer really had anything to do with the outcome, because it is all God. But no, after that, hearing the phone call that Bumble had passed.
Yes. Yep. The vet said she's gone, and they asked me, what do you want to do? We can, keep her here, or you can come pick her up. And I was a mess. I said, well, I'll get into that in a minute. So I said, you know what, just keep her for now, and I'll come get her, here in a little while. And they said, okay. I said, just leave her alone, And so I hung up the phone, and I was bawling, and then, I'm like, see God. And I was like, I knew it. And I remember I could not go to sleep. I was so sad and hurt, and I just dozed off and on, and I dozed off, and then I woke up at 5 a.m, and I noticed my phone, it was blinking. I had a message. So I looked at it, and it was a vet. And I was like, I don't even want to hear anything,
Right.
And I'm sure they're telling me, hey, you need to come get, Bumble, So I clicked the voicemail the vet left, and it was like, I'll remember. I still had the voicemail. The voicemail was, you're not gonna believe this. And it said, Bumble is up. She's eating. She's drinking. And they x-rayed her lungs, and they were clear perfectly. Wow. Yeah.
Wow. And Dolly, during this time, during Armando's breakdown after he found out that Bumble had passed, what are you thinking, even prior to Bumble passing, like he says, giving God an ultimatum? What were you thinking, hoping for, praying for? During that time,
man, I just was praying, and I was like, please let Bumble make it. You've got to. This will destroy Armando. And I hated seeing him go through this pain. And I just wanted everything to be okay.
And Dolly, you're such a perfect match. You guys are both perfect matches for one another. I love watching your relationship, your marriage. You are such a great, comforter for sure, but you're also very good about, if a cat is sick and it looks like maybe just a cold or whatnot, you're so good about giving that, Bumble or the other cat mama, they'll be okay. It's just a little cold. But hearing Armando say that when you went to the vet the day before, you said she didn't look good, I knew, because you had said that, I thought it must be pretty bad. If Dolly's saying that Bumble doesn't look good, then it's got to be true. Not that either one of y'all would ever not tell the truth, but I just know how you are in terms of knowing kind of, the cat's going to be okay, and when you said doesn't look good, then it was like, oh man, same thought, same feeling, same emotion.
Yeah, I was really dreading coming home to tell him that. That was the hardest thing for me, was for me to look at him and just be able to tell him, I'm sorry. It's just not good.
Right. And so then, Armando, you get the phone call that her lungs are clear. She's, first of all, She went from not being no longer here to the next morning you get a phone call, a message that says, "You're not going to believe this, but Mumble is up. She's eating, she's drinking, and not only is she alive, number one, not only is she eating and drinking, but her lungs, which were filled with pneumonia a couple of days before, the day before, are clear."
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
what is your thought? Do you remember what your first thoughts were after you got that phone call?
In shock.
Mm.
I just could not believe it. It went from being in shock, because the message said you can actually come pick her up. She's ready to go home, and I just thought you're kidding. So I went from being in shock to really hurt for what I said to God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it killed me. But at the same time, it was the most beautiful moment with my relationship now with God that I ever had. I just thought, no way. And I was like, and I still haven't even gone to church or anything, but I just thought, you know what, God, you're so good. And those words don't even, it's not justice to how beautiful God is.
Right.
So I woke up Dolly, and I remember woke you up, and I believe you drove us to go pick up Bumble. And sure enough, when we got there, she was in her kennel and looking at me. And here's what's amazing is I didn't know anything about confirmation, what all that meant, or any of that until I went back to church, which I'll just give you a little snippet about that. But so the vet pulled me aside, and he said, "Hey, I need to tell you something." He said, in my 40 years of practice, because I've never seen anything like this in my life. And he said, "I wish I could tell you it was me." And he goes, "It wasn't." And he said, "I'll tell you something else. If you don't believe in God, you better believe now." And now I'm like, oh my God, not only did I get a miracle, but a confirmation from, someone that is a believer that didn't even know what happened the night before about my rant and anger with God. And no way. So I've told this story many times. And well, let me get back to, so I remember when we brought Bummel home, I said, "Hey, when is church?" And you said, "Well, this Sunday." And she said, "Come with me." And I remember I did. And that was the beginning of my walk with Christ.
Man, that was life-changing. That was the most, for us and those, not just Dolly, myself, and our family that get to witness something that is nothing short of a miracle. Those of us that are listening that get to witness those kind of things, that is, first of all, an honor, because how close God is to you when you're hurting, when you are
doubting him,
giving ultimatums, how he, like your shirt says, he leaves the 99 to rescue the one. He knows your pain. He knows your heart. He knows what it will take for your salvation. That doesn't mean that everybody that has someone or something in their life that has passed or is getting ready to pass. It doesn't mean that if they pray a prayer and that, you know, that the person or thing, animal, creature is going to come back to life to save them. No, God has his own plans for each individual, and he knew that that was the plan for you. That was the plan to get you back on track in a relationship with him. That's what it was going to take. And there are some comments here that says, before we go to commercial, it says, well, Mike Ross says, breaks my heart knowing that my precious Mondo's heart was broken with such sadness. Paula Peckham says, it's like God wanted to be crystal clear that he did that. And the fact that you have changed, it's transformation. And it's so, man, it's one of the most beautiful things I think I've seen here on earth, for sure. We're going to go to commercial break, and we will be right back so we can hear from Armando's beautiful wife, Dolly Mendoza. You guys tune back in.
At Romika Designs, we're more than just a laser engraving and specialty design company. Much more. I'm Ron Phillips, co-owner of Romika Designs, and if you can dream it, we can probably make it. We can custom laser cut and engrave on nearly all material. Great for one-of-a-kind gifts, home decor, business and specialty items, or personalized and logo designs created just for you or your company. Allow us to become your go-to gift and specialty project partner. Romika Designs can help make your ideas a reality. We're ready to help you design and create that special gift for any occasion or engrave your personal or business logo on just about any product. View our designs at romikadesigns.com or simply email us with your ideas. We specialize in custom design and would be honored to have the opportunity to discuss it with you. Call us at 817-400-4040, email info@romikadesigns.com, or visit us on the web at romikadesigns.com.
When you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leach Brothers Barbecue, located at 1106 East Henderson in Cleveland, Texas. Leach Brothers has been family-owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry-out, and all your catering needs.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
The voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
We are back to the second half of No Judgment here. Joco Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live 365 days on the TuneIn Radio Network. To listen, go to the tuneinjoco.com and download the free app. All of our shows can also be found on any one of your favorite podcast platforms, such as Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, and Spreaker. Check out our lineup and more on jococommunityradio.com. Thanks for tuning in. This episode and more brought to you by Next Level Claims, making your insurance work for you. Reach out to your Texas sales rep, Nona Reed, at 844.tex.hail. That's 844-839.4245. We are back with Armando and Dolly. And again, I am watching the comments. So if you have any questions for either one of them, please post them. Any love or support that you want to share with them, please type it in the comments. I'm watching them and I will share with them. We wanted to come back after that. Gosh, like we said, nothing short of God. We wanted to come back and kind of close up with Armando. He had a little something that he wanted to share, and then we're going to move to his beautiful wife, Dolly. Armando, let's go ahead and finish up with you.
All right. Well, I just wanted to say, I've told that testimony. I don't call it a story anymore. So, and I've told this testimony to many people, and some responses have been like, "Wow, that's crazy," or "That's cool," and I think about before I went back into church, I think my response would have been the same. But now that my walk with Christ is so close, it's my response would be I'd probably start crying, And so I just wanted to say, if anyone out there is not a believer, is on the fence, or a true believer, regardless, it's okay. But I just do want to say that now when I look back in my life, you can't be lucky that many times. And, before I went back to church, everything good that happened, I thought I was so lucky, and now I look back and those were all blessings. And so I just want to let anyone out there listening or just to understand it's not luck. It's all God's work, his plan. And if you look back and trace back some crazy moments in your life, I guarantee it'll add up to God and the blessings that he has bestowed upon me and you as well.
And kind of like during the commercial break, Dolly had mentioned or had said that it dawned on her that you guys, neither one of you guys, while you were dating for a while, that neither one of you were going to church at the time. Both knew God and prayed, but that after this happened, you started going to church, Armando, and then soon after that, Dolly followed. And so when we think about it, like we were talking, when you stand back, there's a bigger picture. It's not really just all about us. And obviously that's not when God answers prayers and blesses you, there's a bigger picture. It includes bigger things, other people, a future, your purpose, just all the things beautiful that surround your relationship with Jesus. And it can trickle down and transforms not only one life, but another, and then another, and then another, which our hope for these stories will help trigger someone to maybe think, maybe that wasn't luck. Maybe that wasn't a coincidence, because like they say, luck always runs out, but God never does, right? He's always with you, always.
Yes. And I love what you said, about it doesn't mean that someone's loved one is going to be raised from the dead. But, this is the story God wrote for me.
That's right. That's right.
And in death or whatnot, there's always a story and a blessing behind it. So, hey, that's the story God wrote for me.
That's right.
He knew that this is what I needed for me.
Yes.
And here I am.
It's good stuff. We're going to move to your wife, my sister-in-law, who I love so much, Dolly Mendoza, who, man, the loss of a loved one is most difficult. I mean, it's painstakingly hard to lose a loved one. We've lost our parents and family members and friends, but when you lose a child, a son, and you pray for God prior to losing, you pray for God to take care of your son. It's funny how us moms will sacrifice our hearts so that our children will come to know what love really is. What is the beauty of Christ's love really is. As painful as it may be for a mother, it's also a blessing to know that your child is is loved, your child is experiencing Christ's love, or your child is experiencing their purpose because you sacrificed. So we're going to move to Dolly, and Dolly, I want you to share a little bit about the loss of your son Justin, but the moment that you had with God.
Well, really, it was a 3-part series of moments with God, and it all had to do with Justin. You know, when Armando and I first started dating, Justin was going through some really difficult times, getting involved with drugs and really struggling. His whole life, he had been very unsettled and restless and angry. And it was like he was always searching for that one thing, or that acceptance, or just to fit in. And as a mom, that just tore me up. You hate to see your child struggle. And so when things got really bad for Justin, he got in some trouble, and he ended up going to prison. And it was at that time that Armando and I had started going to church. And God's timing is just perfect. You know, all this happened with Bumble to get us back into church, because he knew that's what we were going to need. And I definitely needed it at that time. So when Justin went to prison, I prayed so many times, please, God, just give him peace. I just want him to have peace. I want him to know he's loved. Just let Justin hear your voice. Just open his eyes. Just so many times I prayed and prayed and prayed. And it just didn't seem like Justin was receptive, you know, and that's when I really started to work on my relationship with God. And so my first real moment with God through all this was, I had continually prayed, you know, God, give him peace. And I don't know why, but this one day I prayed, God, save my son. Just save him. And it was in that moment I heard God speak to me so clear. And he said, you know what that means, right? And I stopped and I thought, yeah, I do. I know what that means. And I started crying, and I thought, I've just prayed for my son's death. I feel this guilt, but at the same time, I'm thinking, you know him, and you know what he needs. And I know you're right. And at that moment, I felt a peace, because I knew that he would save Justin, and that he would be at peace finally.
And that is the peace that surpasses all understanding. There can be many mothers and fathers listening thinking, what? She just said that she prayed for her son's death. You know, people can take things out of context or whatnot. But when it is an intimate conversation with Jesus Christ, and for a mother to pray, please, God, just save my son. And then for the Lord to say to you, and it's so cool how you can hear God. A lot of people say, well, I don't hear God, I don't hear his voice, but you can hear it. You know when you hear it.
Oh, you do.
And when you said that after you said yes to God, I know what that means. That you were hurt, but you also had a peace.
I did. So that was really my first real moment with God. And the second moment that I had was with Justin. I had enabled him throughout his life, because I felt like he missed out on things by not having a father, and I felt like I needed to do more for him. which probably caused more of his issues, you know. But I finally decided I'm going to be strong. And actually, this was with the help of Armando. He was always very supportive and gave me advice on things to do. And he helped me slowly make those changes, because when you've enabled a child for so long, you can't just all of a sudden stop cold turkey and that's it. You're on your own. You know, it's a process.
Right.
And so I had really started to push back on Justin on things, and I had done really well, and had started cutting him off of giving him money and things like that. But one morning, Justin called me at 6 a.m. and he said, "Mom, I need you to meet me at QT, and I need money, and I need food, and I need gas." And I jumped up and I put my clothes on. And Armando said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to meet Justin. He needs me." And he said, "No, you've done so good." I said, "No, I think this is going to be the last time I see him. I feel it. I know God is telling me I need to go." And I am. And I went, and I'm so glad I listened. I went and I saw Justin, and I was able to hold him one last time and tell him I love him. Not really knowing when would be the last time, if it's the last time or not, but I just felt it. And so I went on to work that day and didn't think too much about it. That night I went home and we went to bed, and this leads into my third moment with God. We went to bed that night, and at 4:27 a.m., I had this stabbing pain in my back that it woke me up just from a dead sleep. I just immediately sat up and grabbed my side and said, "Oh my God, what?" But as quick as I felt this pain, it went away. And then I just felt this peace. And I thought, wow, that is really weird. And I went back to bed. And then our alarm went off a little bit later. We got up, we went to work. And somewhere around 10:30, I guess, that day, I got a call from the sheriff. And they said they needed to come see me at work. And I asked them, "Is Justin dead?" They said, "We just need to come talk to you." I said, "Okay." And at the time, Armando was working with me and my daughter. And I went and got them, and I took them in the conference room. And I told them, "The sheriff is coming to meet with me. And I know that they're going to tell me that Justin has passed away. And I want y'all to be here with me." And so they came, and we talked, and they did confirm that Justin had had a motorcycle accident. And it happened at 4:27 a.m. At the same time that I felt that pain, but then felt a peace. And at that moment, I thought, thank you, God, for letting me share that moment with my son as he took his last breath. I know we were connected in that moment.
Wow. That's crazy. Like we would say, that's crazy. I mean, I that is not crazy. That's God. That's
It
miraculous.
absolutely is.
The moments of clarity now, maybe then for you, but as you share the story, people can see God's hand in it. And the first time that you prayed and you knew and you heard God say, "You know what you're asking for," and you said yes, and you felt the peace that surpasses all understanding. And then when he called you and needed you after you have stopped working, or you started working on not enabling him anymore, doing so well, not giving in. But that one time you heard that and you knew you needed to go, God was telling you you need to go, and you did. And then at 4:27 in the morning, you have this pain, but then peace. The same time your son was taking his last breath. And you cannot make these stories up. There's just, that's not luck. That's not coincidence.
Absolutely
That's not
not.
by chance.
And God knows me and knows what I needed. And he knew I needed those moments for some of my own peace, to know that this was all orchestrated by God, and I know it was his plan. And as strange as it may sound, it really comforted me. You know, it did. It gave me such a peace about things, knowing that he didn't take my son from me. He took him to take care of him.
He did.
Yeah.
He
and
did.
That's what he needed.
And as hurt as a mother is, so, moms or parents that are listening, as hurt as a parent is, obviously you still have moments of, gosh, the day that he had passed, pain, crying, breakdown, things, forever hurt. But there's also that peace that God gives you to provide comfort in those moments of, I just can't believe this, or whatever someone is thinking during their time of sorrow and pain, but that God fills you with that peace. I've got him. He's happy. He's free. He is experiencing happiness, freedom, and joy like he never would have on earth.
Absolutely.
And so during those times, I think that parents say, thanks be to God. He's with you,
Yes.
Man, it's just breathtaking. And we have another comment here. Let me see here what this is before I ask you guys a quick question. When Armando was sharing a very inspirational testimony spoken from a true, kind-hearted, loving man. My Mondo, I love you. Mike Ross also says, while we hurt with sorrow, we know that God's plan not only spared the ones we lost, but he too spares us from the turmoil of watching those we love hurting and haunted by the demons that fill them. And that's amen to that. That's true. I hope that anyone that listens today or watches on YouTube, if you're listening and your family doesn't have Facebook or a podcast that they like, you can always go to, I believe it's shortly after this airs that it'll be uploaded to YouTube. You can certainly send them the YouTube link. I believe that these stories bring great peace and comfort to those that may be struggling. No matter what the situation is, whether you're a believer or not, I think that these just bring great hope and comfort. But before we go, we have a few minutes left. I want to ask you guys a question. We still have 6 minutes left, so we're good. Armando, today, what does your faith mean to you?
Boy, that's pretty hard to answer. Because it's to me, it's all over the place. My faith is everything to me, and it's all because of God and all He has done for me, my family, Dolly, the get me back on track with Him, bringing me home. I owe everything to our Lord and Savior. He saved me. And, I think about, like, our pastors, they'll say, it's okay, to question God sometimes, it's normal. And, if you're mad or any questions you have. And it just hit me when you asked me that, sometimes I think, are we questioning God, or are we questioning our own faith in God? It just kind of hit me sometimes, because God is true, and God will always be near you. And so I think, why question him when he's got it? He already knows the answer. So it just kind of, when you asked me that, it hit me,
because God is the same today, tomorrow, and every day. He is the exact same, which is almighty, all powerful, all wisdom, all knowing, all loving, all merciful, all forgiving, all grace filled. He's everything that is good. And that's exactly right. I believe it is us questioning our 100% faith in him, because he's not going to do anything to hurt you. He's not doing things on purpose to hurt you. He is doing things on purpose, but it's for his purpose, for you, to help you grow, to help you know that he is real and that he is loving and that he is good. And you will, in the moment, you feel like, oh, I can't believe this, or the pain is too great. But when you step back and you see the bigger picture, it's powerful. And Dolly, I want to get to you before we go. We have 3 minutes. Sorry. Dolly, what does your faith mean to you today?
To me, it means survival, because I could not imagine what my life would have been like, how I would have handled my son's death without having God in my life. I think I would have, it would have devastated me, and it could have taken me down a very dark path. And I think I could have been very angry, at God. So now, to me, I don't know, it's just survival is the word that comes to mind. And I no longer fear death. And I actually do find joy in it. And a lot of people don't understand that, but I do, because I know what is waiting, and it's going to be so beautiful. And, it's inevitable for all of us.
It is.
And so our time here is short, and then the real life begins.
That's right. I love that. That is true, because this is a pit stop. It's temporary, but you can make this temporary home a beautiful one by sharing testimonies like yours and Armando's. And you guys have so many. There are so many. I think I want to have another show where we are able to share other stories that have impacted other people's lives, because this is a temporary pit stop. And we can choose to, whatever anybody's choice is. Of course, this is no judgment. There's no judgment here, but whatever your choices are in terms of what you choose day to day, I believe if you choose to live this life with a purpose, to live and choose to be happy, to get help if you're not happy, because that's all God wants for us, is to live happy, purposeful lives.
Yeah. And there's a line from a song that I just love. It's from Crowder, and it's "He Loves Us," and just the opening line of it almost says it all, is when he says, "He is jealous of me." Speaking of God, I mean, is that not beautiful? He wants a relationship with us so bad.
Yes.
He loves us so much that he's jealous. Beautiful.
It is. That's beautiful. And you guys are two of the most beautiful people I know and love and have the honor of witnessing these incredible, miraculous stories. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you guys next week. Y'all have a good night.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godly, this is